students for careers. We talk about the 21st century. Careers. This is the 21st century. We're preparing them for careers that haven't even been thought of yet, haven't even been created yet. We don't even know what they're going to look like yet. And they're going to be using technologies that haven't even been developed, haven't even been invented yet. And they are going to be facing challenges and problems that we don't even know exist yet. And the information that's available to them each year, 2.5 zettabytes, which is huge, more than has ever been published in 5,000 years, and it doubles every year. That's how much information we're putting out in different forms, various forms. Which means that what we teach our first-year students is often by the third and fourth year irrelevant, outdated, unnecessary. Kind of concerned me. The reality is, teaching is not about content. Teaching is not about delivering wisdom, knowledge, all the content that has ever existed. It's about motivation. It's about engagement. We are supposed to be teaching students at all levels how to think, how to deal in a crisis, how to learn fast when these problems arise in the future. That's what we're teaching. That's what we prepare them for, isn't it? Isn't that what you do? Isn't that what you think about every day? You go and say, I am here to prepare them for the future, to be able to do, not to teach them content, but is that what we think every day when we go to class? Yeah. No, not necessarily. So here we are today. And I don't want you to think out of the box. And I don't want you to draw outside the lines. I want you to erase the lines. I want you to think creatively, innovatively. How can we change this whole perspective, this whole idea of how we deliver our education to students, the experience and service we deliver to students? Completely outside everything. It's open space. It's an eternal universe in which you thrive, in which you can exist if you want to. Now, I'm going to also tell you today about 5 things you need to know. We're going to finish up with that because everybody likes to know 5 things. And you notice that there are some pipe cleaners on the table in front of you. Some of you are already playing with them, already doing things, and that's great, wonderful, good for you. We're going to be using them later on, so feel free to do whatever you want with them. There's also some cards on your table. You got a red card, a green card, and a yellow card. The green card, if you agree with me, make sure your green card is the one that's on top or in front or folded into a tent. If you're not really sure what I'm saying, you're not really sure if you agree, put the yellow card out there so I can see the yellow card. Just slide it up to the front of your table. And if you really think this guy is nuts, he has no idea what he's talking about, I'm walking out. Put the red card out there, give me a chance to keep you. Fair enough? Should be seeing all green cards. I haven't said anything really outrageous yet, have I?
No, but you get the green for being cute.
Okay. And this is Bill. Bill's going to be with us today. He's a professional like you and I. A little old school, but he's been around for a while. He wants to improve. He's curious about this creativity idea. And he's going to be jumping in now and then asking questions. And one of the first questions he asked me was, is there a simple formula for being more creative and innovative? I mean, we've heard all this stuff throughout the conference, right? About creativity, but God, it's just so much. Can you give me a simple formula so I can use as a basis for starting to be creative and innovative? Would you like to hear that? Would you like the formula? Okay. The formula is based on a formula that I got from Beckert and Harris about change. And when I thought, well, change is learning, isn't it? If you don't change, if something doesn't change, you didn't learn. So change, learning, creativity, it's all kind of synonymous. So I said, hey, I could use this formula. I'm not a genius. I didn't go for the formula by myself. And the first part of the formula is, of course, C. On one side of the equation is the C. Creativity and innovation falls under that. Creativity and innovation. How can we be more creative? This is the outcome that we want from all the things that we do. That's why we came to this conference. And I feel like I'm preaching to the choir here because you came here, so obviously you want to be more creative and innovative. But who I really need to be talking to are the faculty that didn't want to come, and the administrators
You don't give a shit.
who don't give a shit. So, first part is the C. Remember that, creativity. The second part of the formula is this. If I want to be creative, this is what has to happen. I need to have a combination of elements. And the first is unrest. You're familiar with the mask. Who's the mask? Guy Fawkes, right? Guy Fawkes, it was in a movie, it was used in a movie called V for Vendetta, where the hero of the movie was fighting against the tyranny, fighting against the status quo, fighting for the little guy. That's you. Fighting against all of the bureaucracy, fighting against all of the constraints that you have, fighting for the student. That's our role. If you don't have a degree of unrest, if you don't go into class every day, or start in class thinking, I got to do better. I'm not satisfied. I know I can do a better job. I know I can find something new. If you're complacent, you're happy, you're not going to change. I am good, I'm great, I'm fine, I get great reviews. Well, then maybe you shouldn't be here. I should be seeing some red cards now. But I suspect all of you have a degree of dissatisfaction, a degree of unrest, a desire to go out there and battle the good battle, be the rebel. But that's not enough, so we have to also have the R part. You got a little unrest, that's good, but you need to have a reason. You need to have a vision. You need to have something that draws you, something that motivates you to go out and do this. Because some days, I don't feel like being creative. I'm tired, I want to go home, the students want to go home, and I'm really tempted to say, it's kind of ride it out the rest of the day. It's tough. So I have to have a reason, something compelling that makes me take action. When I walk out of my class, I want to see graffiti all over the walls by my students. They're going out there saying, this is what we think about Todd's class. This is how we feel. That's what I want my students, that's what drives me, that's what motivates me. So you have to find that reason. Why are you doing this? If it's just for a paycheck, if it's just for retirement, if it's just for something to do, and these lazy students they're just more of a problem than they're worth. Well, you've got to find something inside of you that's more than that, don't you? What's that reason that's going to get you up in the morning and say, I'm going to be more creative, I'm going to be more innovative, I'm going to go to Blackboard, I'm going to try this application, I'm going to use that game. What's going to drive you to do that? Because you're doing it so you get an outcome, and that's it. The third part, because that's not enough, there's a third element that you have to combine with this, and that's execution. Wrong slide. Execution. Now, I don't like sports analogies, but execution. You have to have a plan. You have to have a strategic plan for what you're going to do. The creativity is not going to happen. You can't just take a simple little, I got this tip, I'm going to go start using Blackboard. No, there has to be more of a plan. You have to have a path. You have to have a written, logical plan. We just came out of a session with Mike and Aaron when they talked about having a plan for flipping a classroom. And it's a written plan, and it has elements to it and steps to it. Without that plan, we're not going to be creative. We're just going to do one thing. It may not work, and then we're back to doing the same thing that we've always been doing, which is going to get us what? The same result we've always had. So we've got to have that plan, that clear path of execution, that written plan of what it's going to be like in the next 6 months and the next year. All right, so we've got what?
Creativity.
We got unrest.
Oh, okay.
Well, we want to get creative,
reason.
so we're combining unrest. We've got a reason, with vision, we got something that tells us, and we've got plan. Good. So we're done, right? Yeah. Because all of that has to be, what is this? Greater than the resistance that you have to changing anything.
Oh, nice.
And there's 50 reasons up here, and you probably gave me 100 more. We don't have a staff. We tried that before. It's not my job. It's not our problem. They won't fund it. It's too radical. Can I hear you more?
Always done it that way.
No, it's not that way.
Yeah.
What was in the session with, who was the session with Don, Sandy, Julie, and Misty? And they were giving me quotes of why instructors aren't using Blackboard. And one of them up on the board was, that's my secretary's job. And I'm really upset with Stephanie. I want to know where my secretary is. I've never had it. But some of the reasons for not using it was because I didn't have Blackboard when I went to school, and I learned fine. So there is this resistance. There's this massive resistance. And even the best of us say, I got to do things different. I got to learn something new. That's what students do, not what teachers do.
Hello.
So we have to. How do we get that resistance down? How do we work that out? How do we suppress that? I can't eliminate it, but how can I reduce it? Increase the unrest. That's one way.
Lead by example.
Lead by example. Find inspiration. Where do you find inspiration?
Kelly.
Right here. We're inspiration. Stay in touch. Stay connected. I don't want to do this. Well, you can call Stephanie. She can say, Get over yourself. You're far, far more capable of doing anything than you ever imagined you are. You are capable of learning new technologies. You are capable of playing games. Right? I mean, look at I'm not a fun guy. I know you are. So, we've got the formula, right? It's the cure. It's the cure. And if we apply the cure, if we increase that unrest, that desire, that dissatisfaction, we have that vision and we have the plan to execute it, and we beat down that resistance, and we wake up and say, I want to do this differently. I want to be better. You've got the formula for being creative and innovative. Simple, right? That's all you got to remember. Now, there's a lot more to it than this. But at least this is a basis to start. Feeding your creativity and innovation. All right. Yeah. You remember this?
Yeah.
Where'd you see this last? Friday in Carl's presentation, right? So I want to remind you that creativity needs courage. Yeah, it's going to be, somebody's going to criticize you, your peers, your administrator, your boss, maybe your students. This is stupid. Why are you doing that? That's not very academic. That doesn't have very. You're going to get it. It takes courage. No doubt about it.
You gotta get over yourself.
But get over yourself. So let's see if you can get over yourself. You got pipe cleaners in front of you. I want you to take the next couple of minutes, and I want you to make something creative. In all my classes, any face-to-face class, I always bring pipe cleaners. And I give them pipe. This is what they do in class. I say, make some, just play with them, have fun. Look at what they've been twisting, and some of you have been doing this since you've been in here. Make something creative. Because really creative, you can be really creative. So work with a partner, work by yourself, turn around, work with somebody else, but make something creative.
If he needs anything, have mine.
You can pause. And when you make something creative, show it to your neighbor. And if your neighbor's struggling, help your neighbor. And if you want to combine pipe cleaners, put them together. It's a safe place. Nobody's going to criticize.